Well, here we are for another EaselJS tutorial, and this one follows on directly from the last tutorial where we were creating a sprite sheet from images in Flash. So we had an animation in Flash and exported it as a single sprite sheet, and now we're going to use that sprite sheet to create our walking character. We're just going to have the character walking left and right, not up and down. It's fairly easy to do the up and down from this, but we're just going to keep it to this for simplicity in the tutorial. So I've got a blank tutorial ready to go. Let's just flick over to the code, and this is provided in the download, so if you want to grab the download you can do. I've got a canvas element in the HTML, and all I'm doing is the usual thing that we do when we work with EaselJS, link to the library. I've got a couple of variables here, one for canvas, one for stage, which are required to work with EaselJS, and an image to load a new image with. So all I'm doing here is linking over to the canvas ID on the stage, creating on the HTML, creating a new stage on the canvas, and I am loading into this handle image load once that image is ready to go. So we're loading the image from image/walk clip, and then we're ready to go. Now, if you followed the tutorial last time, you'll also see that we had some data that was exported with the image that came as a JS file. So that's here. I've got that open, and I'm going to start off by actually copying this across and in. So let's just format this by tabbing it across, and I'm going to add in here an extra argument for this walk right. Now, what this extra argument allows you to do is specify if you want to play another sequence immediately after this one has finished playing, and I'm going to specify itself. So in other words, we're creating a looping animation that's always going to loop to the right when this one's going. So that gives us the walk right. Now you'll notice that the walk left is missing. That's because we're going to flip walk right to create walk left. So we'll do that in just a moment. One other thing to do is to grab this sprite sheet information here, get it across and in, and once we've got that in there, we are now ready to go. So we've created a variable called sprite sheet, which is a new sprite sheet. It's from this image here, and now we start adding the sprite sheet to be flipped. So we get the sprite sheet and we use the sprite sheet utils .flip to start converting this image. So we've got a walk left cycle as well, and we do that by referencing the sprite sheet, and we're just going to say which part of the sprite sheet, or what the name of the new animation, which is walk left, and then we say which part of the existing sprite sheet we want to grab, and that's walk right. So it takes the data from here that we have already, those 20 frames. We then give it a couple of values here which are true and false, and what they refer to is the fact that we're flipping it on one axis and not the other. So we're flipping it horizontally, not vertically, and then like we did here with the walk right, when it finishes we want it to loop on walk right. When walk left finishes, we want it to loop walk left. So we close that bracket there. On a new line we close the curly bracket, we close that bracket as well, and hopefully that should be okay. Right, I've still got a there, I've put that in slightly wrong there, apologies for that. So I put in an extra curly bracket, so it's after the flip just one bracket and then sprite sheet. Okay, once we've got that, now we're going to start creating a bitmap sequence. So I've just added in var bitmap sequence at the top here, ready for this bitmap sequence. So we're going to create a new bitmap sequence. We're going to create it out of the sprite sheet. and we're going to say as well bitmap sequence, create a registration point on the x-axis, and we do that by bitmap sequence SpriteSheet frame width. We divide that by 2, and we're going to copy that for the height as well. So we just got a registration point that's in the center of the frame on the x and y coordinates for width and height. And then after this is a really nice friendly Flash command, which I'll show you now, which is go to and stop walk right, so that it's already on there, the walk right, and anyone who's used Flash previously will understand and know where that command has come from and its significance. We're just going to position it on the x-axis, and the way we're going to do that is say that the canvas width divided by 2, and again let's copy that because it makes that a little bit faster. So we do the same with the y, height, and then stage, add child. What do we want to add? The bitmap sequence. So now as it's created, we want to put it on there. So at this stage it won't actually do anything, it's just placing it on the stage. We've not added the interactivity to it yet, we've just managed to get it on the stage. So we put the stage update in, otherwise we won't actually be able to see anything. So we save that, and I've just noticed before we check this and make sure it's correct that actually that should be a capital S there, SpriteSheet utils, not accessing the sprite sheet itself. So let me just save that now. Head over into here, refresh, and there we've got our character on the screen. Can push left and right, nothing will happen. We haven't programmed that in just yet. Okay, so now it's time to start adding some interactivity to this tutorial. We've got the man on the screen, and now we want to get him to walk left and right. So the first thing we're going to do is add a couple of variables to this. First variable is going to just tell me whether I'm holding down my left key, LF held. Same again for the right key. And one final variable here, which is just going to tell me that I'm actually holding any key down at all. That's going to be key down equals false, and that'll become apparent later on in the tutorial. Okay, next thing to do is to go register the on key down event. It's probably worth pointing out that these are not going to work on different browsers and across different platforms. It's just for test purposes. So let's start creating those, and we do that by going to the bottom of the document, and I'm just going to paste in some code I've got here already. So what we're doing is we're taking the event and we're getting the key code of that event of handling the key down, finding out which key it is. So if it's case 37, it's the left arrow key, so we're turning that LF held variable to equal true, and likewise for case 39, that's the right key, so we do RT held. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it in again just below here, but this time change it ever so slightly for the on key up. As we're releasing the key, then obviously we want to set that to false, but there's also some other things we want to do in here as well. So at this point we want to stop our animation from playing, so we're going to say bitmap sequence go to and stop. Now this is the left key, so we will use WK left semicolon. Oh, got that in the wrong place. And we also want to say key down equals false. Good. Just checking at the top there, I had that in. So let me copy that. This is the right side, so let's change it to right. And again, key down equals false. Now I'll explain this in just a moment. We're not quite at the point where I'm going to explain that just yet, but it will make sense. So let's grab this stage update. We don't want to update the stage at this point. We want to update the stage every single frame, so we need to set that up. So we do our ticker, add, I need to add event listener, add listener window, and that calls the function tick. Let's close that down. I'll paste in there so we've got it straight away. Okay, and that's like the enter frame in Flash. If you're from a Flash background, it's something that happens every single frame. It just the kind of tick it runs on. And in here, what we want to do is find out if that left button is down. If the left button is down, we want to do something to our bitmap on the screen. So our bitmap sequence, we want to move it on the x-axis, minus equals 5, takes 5 off its existing value, moving it to the left, giving the illusion of movement. RT held for the other key, plus equals 5, sending it in the other direction. Okay, now I want to do another condition here, but I want to add and, so it takes two properties, two conditions rather. Key down equals false, so we come to that key down now, and it'll all start to make sense, hopefully. So what I'm going to do is tell the bitmap sequence at this point to go to and play. Nice Flash friendly command there. It's going to go to and play the walk left sequence because we've got the left key down, LF held. But what might happen is, as we've got the key down, it might continuously trigger the go to and play walk left, which would mean it would sort of stutter and stagger around at kind of the first frame, just so you get this very jerky looking animation. So we've got this key down equals false. The key down is now pressed, so we could say equals true, and that will stop it from triggering again and again and again. And when we release it, we're stopping the animation and telling it it's false. So we know it's true. It's going to continually loop on itself anyway because we told it to in the first part of the tutorial. So we can grab that section now, copy and paste. This time we're on RT held and we are talking to the right side. That can be the same, key down equals true. Save, refresh, and this time we have animation that walks when I push my cursor key in either the left or right. So using the same principle as that, you could easily go on and build it so that you've got the up and down movement. You've already got the code in here for that. It's just a question of actually adding the kind of keys and the listeners and all of that sort of stuff. So that's it for this tutorial. Hope you've had a good time learning about that, how you can put SpriteSheets into play, and join me again next time for some more exciting EaselJS. See ya. Thanks a lot. Bye.